Welcome to Get Offset. My name is Emily, and you know that thing you've been working on real hard lately, chipping away at? I think you should keep at it. It's going to turn out wonderfully, I can tell. And you just keep going. All right, well, I'm here today with the Gloamer by Pigtronix. It is an all analog polyphonic amplitude synthesizer. And those are certainly words. You probably know what they all mean apart, but when you put them all together, basically it's an analog device that can do some really cool things in terms of compression, attack, and decay of your signal. There are three ways that I've been using this. I'm going to start talking about the compressor. So we're just going to look at these red controls for now. Volume is your overall output, and you probably will want to compensate that depending on where you set the compressor and where you set the attack ultimately, because you can encounter some clipping. It just gets louder than you might think, which isn't always a bad thing. So I'm going to turn that down a bit. Blend is the mix of your dry signal and the swelling signal, especially from the attack and decay. That's where it's most apparent. I think it's most apparent when you have the decay on, and we'll get to that when we get to that. I'm going to go ahead and keep this up all the way for most of the demo just because it makes everything a lot more obvious, and I suspect that's how most people are going to use this pedal anyway. Compression is the blend between the dry signal and a compressed signal. I quite like the compressor. I'm going to go ahead and turn it up all the way, and then we'll dial it back and just see how different it is. And then there's the sensitivity. Sensitivity mostly works with the attack and decay, but also can have some fun stuff going on with the compressor. But it's basically the threshold at which the attack, decay kind of work. Basically how much input's needed to reset those things. So even when the attack is all the way down, which is where I'm going to start with it, and you don't really get that swell, the sensitivity can still come through if it's turned very low. So I'm going to start with it in the middle. Again, compression all the way up, blend all the way up, volume down a skosh, sensitivity in the middle, attack down, decay off. All right, let's get it. I'm playing with the Music Man HT Cutlass, those heat-treated pickups. I have the boost on, and I'm in the 4th position, and I'm using the Benson Mixwave Chimera plugin. And now I'm turning the pedal on. Compression all the way up. Turn it down. Get my hair out of my face. I like the compressor. I think it's pretty spanky. I like keeping it up. I just feel like it helps a little bit in the attack stuff too. I just think it sounds good. But if we turn the sensitivity down, it does some kind of funny stuff. It gives you this kind of like feeling that your signal is dying out. And you don't have to get very far removed from the bottom of the dial to get away from that sound. But it'll still happen, and I honestly, I think that's a really cool effect. I'm not sure if it was like an intentional thing, but I honestly quite like it. Um, I like having the sensitivity all the way up when we get into the attack, and I'll explain why in a second. But let's just play some stuff. That is the auto swell feature of it, and there are some really sought after pedals that aren't in production anymore, and the big thing that people like about them is that auto swell. I've tried a few pedals to get something like that. I've kind of struggled to find something I like until now. With my band Sunday Crush, there's a song, and I typically have to ride the volume pedal pretty hard. I don't like doing that. I only have one foot, and when I'm riding that volume pedal, it makes it really hard to hit the next effect, which is what I want to do. All right, now let's talk about that little blue LED that I'm sure you noticed. When it says ready, it means the next note or chord or interval you hit, it's going to swell. And what happens if you play another note before that ready comes on? Hear the second thing I hit there, it just it didn't swell. It's just you heard it. So another thing you might have noticed is that when I had a chord sustained and that light went off, the signal just cut out. It didn't decay at all. And it'll cut off a lot faster with that sensitivity turned down. And if there's still input, like if there's a warble in your signal, like if you have a tremolo before this or something, that will cut out and turn back on. It will just keep going. That was a pretty clean cutoff. Let's just check out how long that swell can get. Pretty fast. Slower. Much slower. And and it almost can't get up to full volume before there's not enough input signal to keep that that blue light off. So that'd be a reason to compensate the volume, because you're going to lose some as that note rings out. I was looking at my Studio One to make sure I wasn't clipping. Now let's talk about the decay side of this. I know I haven't talked about that blend knob, but I'll get there, don't worry. So you noticed that when there was not enough input signal before, like it just, the attack, it just swelled and it stayed at that top point until there was not enough input signal. When the decay side is on, you'll get a rise and a fall. Let's listen. And I almost got into the next thing a little too quickly. Let me try that again. It went up, it went down. I think it feels really natural if you're doing long sustained stuff and aren't trying to move between one note and the next. And I didn't mention this, but the easiest way to get that decay to reset is just to mute the strings. And then it fades out again. But you might have heard The first time I played it, after it decayed, it started again. And that's because after the decay was over, there was still enough input signal to trigger the attack again. And what do we call that? Tremolo. You can get it extremely choppy, like choppier than I think you'd ever use. You can really hear that spring reverb drip. That's funny. But one thing I really like is that how do I put this? It's almost like it's a sensitivity controlled or an envelope controlled tremolo at the end, because as the signal dies out, the tremolo gets slower. I'm not exactly sure why, but I really like it. And this is where I would use the blend knob a little bit. When you have that kind of tremolo effect with this, because you don't want your signal always to just completely cut out between notes, and you don't have to have that happen. It can still swell and decay while you always hear a little bit of that dry signal. Let's hear how that same little riff would sound without the decay on. So you could hear there that there were a few points where it definitely swelled up, but it never completely died out, and it didn't have that just natural tremolo kind of feel. It is literally every time the music got quiet or there was a break in it, when it came back in, it swelled a little bit more, which I it it's unique, it's beautiful. I don't have anything else that does this. I can turn the compression and the sensitivity down, and that will help it like have more swells. With the sensitivity down, when you are playing more than just like an occasional swell, you can create more space for those swells to happen just naturally in the playing. And I will turn the blend all the way up again just so you can hear that better. Pretty neat, right? And let's hear it with the decay. It's not, I don't know if it's going to be terribly different, other than the fact that it will go down and up regularly. So yeah, that's quite different. It's almost a more natural kind of feel. I don't think that either method is bad, either using the decay or not in that kind of scenario. it's just different. It's still movement. It's still really beautiful and very musical, but it's just something else you can try. Let me turn the compression back up. So you can even set the attack to be different from the decay. In that case, the attack was much faster than the decay. You can have the opposite. A faster attack and a slower decay. Love it. There is so much you can do in this little pedal. It's a really neat standalone compressor. It can get you those swells for those really emotive parts in a piece of music. It can be a tremolo, both a traditional kind of one and a really unique one. And it's just a great way to add movement in songs, especially songs that have like some more legato stuff going on, because sometimes those can get a little boring. I don't want to say. I don't know. I love this pedal. I can definitely see a place for it in my signal chain. It does a few things that I already need. I already need tremolo. I already need compression. And those swells during certain Sunday Crush songs, it's pretty essential to the way I play. And I would just have to make some small adjustments here and there. So the Gloamer by Pigtronix, I really truly like it. Big thanks to Pigtronix for sending me this in exchange for a review. If you're curious about buying this or anything else in the world, please consider using the affiliate links in the video description. We have Sweetwater, Reverb, Perfect Circuit. It's a great way to support the channel because the retailers share with us a small portion of that sale. So it's a way to support us doing things you are probably already going to do. So thank you everybody who uses that. I also love it when you like, comment, subscribe. You can also support us financially on Patreon. If you're watching this in the live premiere, you can drop a super chat, or you can do that during the lives I often have as well. But yeah, my favorite way to support the channel is to like, comment, subscribe, and tell your favorite brands about us. So, to everyone out there, thanks for watching. Thanks for understanding. Keep chipping away at that project. I think it's going to turn out great. And until next time, my name is Emily. Goodbye.